back, everybody, to Off the Cuff. Adam Banks here with you. I have in my home studio the man himself, Hybrid, the rapper. Hybrid, now, thank you so much for being here, first of all.
Hey, man, I appreciate the invite, not only to the studio, but to your beautiful home.
Hey, thanks. Yes, this is the first episode that I have done at my house ever. Well, unless you count COVID.
Yeah, kind of had to then.
Yeah, but I was using Zoom, so this is like the first time that I've had actual studio equipment in. So you get to be my guinea pig, man, just to test this out.
Lab rat.
Yes. So, man, now do you go by Hybrid? Is that what you like people to call you?
Man, whether I like it or not, that's what they're gonna call me.
Right.
Even when we were talking about earlier, even when I'm substitute teaching, they're like, I hear whispers in the back, like, Hybrid's our sub, y'all. Hybrid's our sub. But you know, like, some of my friends know me from a high school nickname was Slim, but you know, obviously my first name's Chris. At this point, it's like a mix between Chris and Hybrid, so everybody's like Chris Hybrid, or you know, it's mostly Hybrid.
You got to be a cool substitute teacher.
I like to think so.
Yeah. Do you teach all subjects?
Yeah, pretty much. Whatever. One day I might be a gym coach. The next day I might be agriculture at the high school, you know.
So do you have a favorite class that you like subbing for?
It's got to be gym.
Yeah, gym.
I get out there and hoop on them.
Yeah.
Hey, any opportunity to lace up and hoop on the kids, I'm all about it. But I enjoy English for sure. Anything that's creative, art, any type of writing class, things like that. But if it's math, I'm a little out of the loop, man. I struggled back when I was in school, so I can't keep up with what they're doing nowadays.
I feel you, man. That was my weakest subject too. I feel like if you're weak at math, you're strong in other areas.
Yeah.
And I feel like that people that are strong in math are just strong in math.
Man, it's that left brain, right brain thing.
Now, do you sub in just Franklin County?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just Franklin County. You know, you got to reapply for every county you're in, and I stay so busy with my music and my other day job that one county's cool, and they keep me busy. I could probably sub 5 days a week if I wanted to.
Now, growing up in Frankfurt, what kind of impact did your environment have on your music early on?
Man, I bounced around a lot. First of all, I was all over the place. Single parent home. I lived anywhere from Mobile, Alabama to Chicago, back to Frankfurt, back out again. I was like literally a rolling stone with my mom, moving around all over Frankfurt. So mostly raised on the east side of Frankfurt, which is definitely a variety of people, a variety of suburbs, different type of settings and environments. And of course, we have a local HBCU college there, which I eventually, you know, went to school there. And I basically hung out with a bunch of hip hop kids. You know, I had a wide array of friends, but you know, we were definitely hip hop influenced suburban folks, and hanging out, like, my different friends that I made along the way definitely influenced my music, because most of them eventually started doing music with me.
Yeah.
In the late 90s, when we were kind of in our late teens, all my childhood friends, we actually formed a rap group.
Nice.
Yeah, and we were together for like 10 plus years.
Yeah, what was the rap group?
The rap group was named Basement Upstairs.
Okay.
And it was essentially all my high school homies. And we all were already in love with hip hop, total hip hop heads, influenced by just the whole golden era, you know, the whole boom of hip hop in the mid to late 90s. And we all developed a love and a passion and a skill for it. And then I was the one that took initiative and hunted down my first set of equipment, my first keyboard, my first drum machine, first sampler, first microphone, mixer, all that. That was actually an analog 8-track. And I was the one, sort of like the RZA to the Wu-Tang. I was the one that was like, hey, y'all, I'm going to learn how to do this. We're going to start a record label. We're going to start a rap group. We're going to start making songs. And got them all fired up and got them all excited. And they followed suit and they came along, and that's what we did.
Now, when did you realize that music was more than just a hobby and you wanted to make a career out of it?
I was so passionate about it in those first days that I don't think I ever loosened up the grip on it. I think even now, at my age now, I'm even more passionate and obsessed with it. Like, even when I was first getting out of high school, even though there wasn't a music scene, the whole industry seemed so out of reach, everything like that, I was still took it serious and was like locked in and obsessed with it. So I don't think as far as ever like taking myself serious and thinking people would, it took a little while because back then the technology was so scarce. It took us 10 years to figure out how to record a demo to even show it to somebody, like at most you just rapped in the car with your homies, or you just told people you'd made music, or they heard you rapping at a party or something of that nature. It wasn't so easy accessible, and you weren't able to show everybody like now. Like now you could learn software, record a song, and have it posted by the end of the night in one day.
Yeah. Yeah, and the thing about it is, man, you are taking a big risk when you become an artist. You're putting yourself out there. Did you have any reservation, any kind of just fear of getting criticized about your music? And especially the type of music that you do.
Yeah, it was always kind of taboo at that point. Especially in my rap group who I spoke about, we were a mixed group. It was like a couple white boys, a couple black dudes. And there was always this kind of stigma, like, because, at that point, like artists like Eminem hadn't rose to fame quite yet.
Right.
They weren't around. So you just had what was on TV, and you had what you saw at the CD store, and that was it. It didn't even really seem like there was a chance to blow up. So yeah, there was like this insecurity thing, almost like you're supposed to keep it under wraps, like, because it wasn't as common like now. Now it's wide open. You got, dope rappers coming out of every continent, every city, like.
Yeah, and so when you heard somebody like Eminem come out when he did, what was your first thoughts on Eminem?
Jealous.
Yeah, he's so good.
Yeah, just like a mixture between like a little bit of envy and a little bit of like, I want to be there. I want to be taken serious like that. I want to be in that world. And I had that anyway, because back then all you had was TV in the industry. So everything was so out of reach. There was no independent music yet, really.
Nope.
Or at least no outlets for it.
Nope.
So it was kind of like, so how did that happen? Like, who do you know? Where do you got to go? What party you got to attend? Like, who has to hear your demo? Like, is it just luck? Is it like, you got to get a manager? Like, there's this confusion. And then later, when all these artists come out and they tell their stories, we kind of figured it all out. And it's like, oh, it's mostly a who you know and a timing thing and all that. But like back then, it was just like a weird envy that made you want to like get there.
Yeah,
it's like you're an amateur boxer and you're looking at whoever's holding the title and you're like, yeah, I want to fight him. I want to be there. Like, how do you get to that moment?
What was so cool about Eminem? Hip hop is predominantly a lot of black artists. Very few white artists go into that industry and make it big. So he had to be some sort of an inspiration because he wasn't just a rapper. He was, I would say, he's probably top 5 best of all time.
That seems to be the consensus for sure. Yeah, for sure. And I mean, his catalog's amazing. He's as far as wordplay and the things he's done with language and the English language is nuts. And he was doing really complex rhyme patterns and crazy things that hadn't been done. Yeah, at least on a mainstream level. And there'll probably never be an artist that big again, strictly because he capitalized on the MTV generation. Yeah, like he became a household name. Like the way he was selling albums and on all the award shows, and his videos were out there, like it just became a global phenomenon. Every magazine cover. Like, I don't think an artist can get that big again because they don't have that type of platform. Yeah, music was just at a whole nother level in the 90s, thanks to MTV, TRL. Yeah, those days. That's all you had. So you came home from school and you're like, boom, you were there watching the box. Outside of hip hop, did you have any musical inspirations outside of the hip hop genre? Yeah, I've always loved R&B music, rock music, alternative rock music. I mean, I'm just a connoisseur when it comes to, one minute I might be listening to some underground hip hop, but next minute I'm listening to classics, like Elvis or Red Hot Chili Peppers or, old Jodeci music. Like, I'm all over the spectrum. Yeah. But to be fair, like, honestly, nowadays I spend a lot of my time listening to beats, listening to my friends. I'll go back and review music that I used to love to get that nostalgia. Go back and listen to some albums that kind of changed my life. or I'll check out some of my favorite artists' new stuff. You know, I'm not as eclectic as I used to be because it's like I'm kind of locked in on rehearsing my own music and writing new music and supporting the people around me in the underground world. But I still check in every once in a while. But yeah, like growing up, my mom obviously she influenced me with a lot of like 80s rock, a lot of 70s music, and then Pandora's Music Box opened up, and I was just like all over the place.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
You sound like a true artist there.
hopefully, yeah. Like, but I did really get addicted to West Coast rap music.
West Coast, okay.
For
So
some reason, I was like all about the Bay Area, Oakland, Vallejo, San Francisco. You know, music that was coming out of like Compton and Sacramento and all these crazy. I don't know. For some reason, I just took to it, and I fell in love with the sound, and I just became like a collector. Like, I don't know. It definitely influenced my music. Not so much anymore, but as far as when I was first growing up, you hopped in my car, that's what you were hearing. And then later on, I fell in love with, you know, groups like Outkast or Tech Nine or, you know, artists from some from New York and Texas and different places. So I got a healthy diet of a lot of different styles.
now you are Hybrid the rapper, and now how long have you had this persona? Have you had any others before that you became officially Hybrid?
No, you know, Hybrid was actually my first real rap name. It used to just be Hybrid. I put the little ending on it later to sort of to divide it from. There was actually a big band from Europe called Hybrid, and so I was like, well, when I start putting my music out, I need to have a little change in it to where when they type it in, it's going to go right to it. Because I would have had some conflict. They were a huge band, but I've had the name Hybrid since I believe the early 2000s when I was with my old rap group. That was my first official alias stage name, you know, and I just added the rapper on there, and the name just really spawned from having a wide array of styles,
Yeah.
and being a combination and a concoction of all those different influences, different styles, different emotions, singing and rapping, a mix between both. So, which was a little bit of a precursor to where my style would become later, because I would actually start singing a lot more. And then, you know, look at music's blended into like all these different subgenres, and you got artists like Drake that are as much of a singer as they are a rapper.
Absolutely.
So like it kind of works now. That could have never happened growing up. You
No.
didn't, like Tupac didn't suddenly release an R&B song,
No.
and you know, you're like, you know, it just couldn't have happened. Like they had to stick with what they were known for.
Yeah.
But now you can kind of like do anything, and every major genre has blended with other genres. So you got punk rap, you got country rap, and rap is like that spoken word that can actually be inserted into each genre. And so that's another reason I put the rapper on there, because like even though I may dabble in country, may dabble in rock or all this different things, I always throw that rap in there.
Well, and I always love it because rap, a lot of people look at it as just so different from all other types of genres. But I love it when you've got a mix like Willie Nelson, who is country as can be, and then you've got Snoop Dogg,
Yeah.
who will team up and just make beautiful music together. Is there anybody out there that you would love to collab with
Oh, wow.
in your just anybody?
Well, Anthony Hamilton comes to mind. For some reason, I don't even know if you know who he is. He's a R&B soulful singer.
I don't.
He was like R&B, but a little more old school 70s influence, very soulful. He was always one of my favorites. I don't know. I always called him the king of ad-libs. He did like amazing background vocals, just really smooth, soulful songs. And I just loved his sound. He sounds very original. I always thought that he would be a good one to work with, you know. But there's all kinds of people, tons of rappers I would love to collab with, tons of producers, bands. Like, I'd be up for any challenge.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, absolutely. So now you do other things besides, you know, just lay down tracks. You also have your own studio.
Yeah.
You do a little producing. You do your own editing. You do your promotion. Do you have a favorite thing that you do? I would assume it's performing, but do you like the business side of it too?
Honestly, one of my favorite things to do now that I've fallen in love with, and my supporters would they would probably know because they see all the videos, but I love making music videos now.
Yeah.
Not necessarily editing them. Like I have a couple of close friends who are really amazing videographers, but I just love hooking up with them, taking a song, going out somewhere with a little small script or a little idea, or even just making it up as we go and making visuals. It's one of my favorite things to do. I look forward to it. It's like a part, like something to really look forward to. Like that's the pinnacle of music to me now, is when you can, like, because I guess I was a big film buff too. You know, I love film.
Same, yeah.
And photography. So to go and do a little bit of that acting and a little bit of that role play and bringing like an artistic visual to each song.
Well, it's the time you grew up in.
Yeah.
You know,
love it.
we grew up in a time when music videos was, man, that was just as important as the song.
Yeah.
Was the music video with MTV and things like that. So that makes sense. Now, did you teach yourself how to do most of the things that you do now?
Yeah. Just independent, you know, just trying to become a renaissance man with music. You know, I've dabbled in a little bit of everything, anything from having a clothing line to, you know, making beats to, you know, being a promoter for local shows. And, you know, trying to be a jack of all trades is cool, but it's a little overwhelming. And sometimes you can't master all of them. You know, it's like you need a team, because it's like you're trying to be a whole one-man record label. Somewhere you're going to lack, you know. So it's hard doing all of them really well. But I've enjoyed trying to do all of them. But some of them I'm like, I'd rather be like, hey man, can you make this video? Or, you know, can you know, like I don't make beats anymore. I got so many producers sending them to me. Like I don't even have time to keep up with that side of it. You know, it's like I got a desktop full of 2,000 beats, you know, like
Absolutely.
You know, what do I need to be over there banging on the Triton for? So yeah, nowadays it's definitely the music videos is the funnest.
Now, I was reading your bio before you come on the air, and one of the things that I've just found fascinating about you is that you said that you have close to almost 50 albums in the vault, like a lot of songs that you have just laying back that people have never even heard.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. How do you, now, when you write a song, do you feel like that each song has the same quality as the next?
No, I think that's probably a little impossible. Yeah, I think that's about, you know, because some have different engineers, some have different production, some I took more time on, some developed differently. Like, you know, I might send an acapella to a producer. Like, for instance, I got a guy here in Lexington. I'll just send him an acapella every once in a while, and he'll send me back a remixed, crazy new version. It just happens itself. It's like it just manifests out of nowhere. It's like I just gave him some lyrics, and he produces a song for me, and like. Or some I might like find an awesome producer and purchase a beat directly. Like I know I'm going to work on this one for a while. I may venture out to a different studio, and the engineer has totally different skill sets and sound design. So yeah, every song, and then some songs are just meant to be like they come out of the ether, and they're like, yeah, this is the time, this is the song, this is the content, and they're almost like, you know, divinely inspired. And another song might just be kind of silly, you know, it might just be a fun little song I did for the heck of it, you know. But so really it's all about the eye of the beholder at the end of the day. Like, yeah,
and I think that making a good record, it's a collaborative. You have to have a good collaborative team to do that. Just like a movie, a lot of the actors get the credit because they're the face. Just like the rappers get the credit because they're the face.
Yeah.
But really, man, you got to give credit to the engineers, the producers, these people who drop these beats. It's such a collaborative process. Now, do you ever go back and listen to any of your old raps and compare them to your new ones?
Yeah, and sometimes it's. I realized that some of the stuff I did back in the day, I can't quite do now. You know, there was a certain hunger or a certain inspiration, a certain trial I was going through that made it really pop like it did or made it come out. And I can't like recapture that. You know, it's like, and then sometimes I'm like, nowadays I'll come with something that I could have never done back then. Like I wasn't ready to do it. So it's a give or take. Sometimes it breaks down the whole time being linear thing, like timelines being linear, because certain songs mean more now to me than they did then. And then, you know, it's almost like, yeah, I wrote it back then, but it's telling my story now. I run into that a lot, especially with relationship songs. You know, it's like I wrote a song and it makes more sense when I listen to it now. It's almost like a premonition or a self-fulfilling prophecy. You know, it's like I wrote then, but it is real now.
Yeah. No, I understand. I mean, you've definitely been on a journey as an artist. Now, what's the one thing that you feel like, now this is a tough question to put you on the spot with, but what do you feel like is the most misunderstood thing about you as an artist?
Ooh.
I know. I told you it was a tough one. Yeah.
Misunderstood. I need to know what these people think first. Well, I feel like that, to be a little personal, I've fallen out with a lot of people. You know, music is one of those experiences and journeys that you meet a lot of amazing people, and you make a lot of friends, and you make a lot of memories with those friends, but you also lose a lot over, you know, because not everybody's in it for the same reasons. And sometimes the people aren't as real, and they're not as like sincere as you might have hoped for, or business or egos, or, you know, people change. Like I've had band members pass away, people they retire, and it might be somebody I have 100 songs with, and then I don't see them anymore, you know. And then a lot of times, you know, you fall out with people because they think you had ulterior motives or whatever. And I've always felt like I've gotten accused and taken in a way of like, you know, maybe I tried to control things, or maybe I was in it for the wrong reasons. But honestly, I feel like I've always been real to a lot of these people.
Man, I feel you. Like the same thing happens with you know, with me on this show. I've fallen out with people. I've had co-hosts that I no longer talk to anymore, and it's, you know, it's just you try to look to the source of what happened, what went wrong. I think a lot of it too is when somebody is not as passionate about your art as you are, it kind of can cause some friction. And I don't know what your case was, but yeah, it was kind of like, I feel like that what happened with a lot of my people is that I found out that they didn't share the same passion, and it just caused a drift. Nothing personal, and just professionally, we just kind of drifted away.
Yeah. It's like, it means something different to everybody. Some rappers might just be rapping to hear themselves. They might not be in it to create an indie label and to create a legacy and to put their town on the map, or to influence the youth, the world. Like, you know, they might just be in it for the girls. They might be in it for the money. They might be in it for the party. A lot of them are in it for the party. A lot of artists just want to make music, post it, see what happens. They don't want to follow up and do all the groundwork, and they don't want to be consistent. And like you said, some people just might be seasonal. They might just drift naturally.
Yeah.
You know, everybody's got their internal journey and their own path, you know. And it took me a long time to chill out a little bit, stop trying to control everything, stop letting it get me upset, stop trying to forge something, you know, like some alchemy that I'm trying to make this into that, and just have more of an ebb and flow and let things and people do what they're going to do. And just enjoy it while it's here, because it's all fleeting, you know. And I've had to learn that. Like, same thing with other friendships beyond music or relationships or whatever. Like, not let it just still stay on my path.
Yeah.
You know?
It helps you just grow. It helps you, and it becomes a part of your journey. Now, here on Off the Cuff with Adam Banks, we like to put people on the spot, and I'm anxious.
Oh, no.
Yes, I'm anxious for my
I'm already sweating.
Audience to hear you drop a beat. So what I'm going to do, Hybrid, if it's okay with you, is I'm going to pull up a random beat here, if you're down for it. Yes,
Man.
and I want to have this playing in the background, and I would just love for you to just freestyle for the audience,
off the cuff.
Off the cuff, if you're down for it.
Yeah, I'm down.
All right, man. I'm just going to play this little beat randomly here, and you take off whenever you're ready.
Man, let's do it.
All right.
Ooh, let's go to something else. That's the hoodie bag beat.
What are you even saying right now? No.
Let's not do that one.
Okay, was that like a...
That was the actual Need That Hoodie Bag song.
Okay. Let's see. What about this right here? Maybe?
Let's see. Okay. Yeah. I like that. Check it. Hybrid. I don't even think the drums have kicked in yet. Let's see. Hey. Yo. Check. My world's been a crime scene, I'm the only witness. Footprints from my past, from the Holy Spirit. I never knew my father, now another lonely Christmas. Every chick I ever dated blew my homie kisses. Probably not, but still didn't stop a jealous heart. People try to sell me dreams like they're selling cars, but heaven's far, so tell the Lord I'm coming home. I'm tired of running Rome, like Caesar on his own. I had to raise my son alone, but where his mom at? I don't know, probably roaming like a tomcat. My music been a soundtrack to my life movie. So many times sidetracked, I'm just trying to do me. Opportunity knock, slamming doors in my face. In a fight with these demons, in a war for my grace. I spoke for my generation, did you really listen? I fought like Achilles on a mission. Now let me offer up my hand to these cats in the game. They talking property and land, but they whacking the brain. I'm talking lottery, my man, yeah, we doing it big. And this has gotta be the jam, I can't ruin the gig. I do it again and again, like I'm doing the bid. My teeth razor sharp, from always chewing on pins. Oh yeah, my crew's in the place, girl, your dude's in my space. I'm tennis shoe, hustling for dope, my shoes lace. Hot sauce, fish fry, popping off in KY. Franktown, stand up, hands up, we stay fly. Come on everybody, we gon' party till the cops come. Got my people with me and you know we will not run. Big and the mic go good together, kinda like calling us cloak and dagger. See on the weather and better than ever, I'm back in the bullet like Vance Bagger. I am so space age, notice my advanced swagger. These cats got some big mouths like Mick Jagger. I'm in it to win it, beginning to finish. I'm ripping the killing the mic, but I'm really not kidding, so give me a Philly, I'll split it with a butter knife. 2 10s in the trunk, bump, bump. Hear me coming, stunner shades on. Guess what? This ain't no frontin'. They say I'm super hypey, even college students like me. And if you're feeling stupid, fight me, homie, I do this nightly. Call me a business major, I'm talking major business. Most my friends is rappers, listen to a player spit it. Hot like Arizona, lime in my Corona. Man, your plan's over, expand to land owner. Now hand the grants over, my fam in the Land Rover. Standing with my soldiers, your clan gets ran over. Hand over fist, plans to be rich. Sand and tan chicks, fans demand hits. And I really can't think of too many MCs that's tighter than me, cause I've been living at the top where they fighting to be. And I'm like a Viking at sea, so bury me with my sword. And when I'm done with this earth, carry me to the Lord.
Hey, bro, hey, and that, folks, was Random at Random. Let's give him a round of applause there.
Yeah.
I tell you.
Hey, I've been wanting to rap on the radio for a long time.
Hey, bro, well, was that your first time rapping on the radio?
In this type of situation, yeah, man.
Dude, well, great job. Now, I assume that you love performing live, too.
Yeah.
And
I do.
Do you have any live show that you can think back to that's been your most memorable?
Oh, man. There's a couple, but the most memorable, my real, 8 Mile moment. As a couple years ago, a promoter from Louisville, Kentucky named Terry Harper, one of the biggest promoters up there, he blessed me with this opportunity, an opportunity I really wasn't that ready for, because I was in an in-between stage of running a label, being a part of a group, and then suddenly all that collapsed and I was just solo suddenly. And I wasn't ready for this caliber of a show, but he gave me an opening spot for a 30-minute set for the Wu-Tang Clan at Expo 5.
Wow.
And it was the first time the Wu-Tang had ever been in Louisville, Kentucky. And I mean, it was dangerously shoulder to shoulder packed.
Yeah.
It was, I would say about 3,000 people jam packed in the Expo 5. Imagine a giant airport hangar, basically.
And that had to give you adrenaline.
Oh my God.
Do you like bigger crowds versus smaller ones?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just more hype.
Yeah. I mean, I'll go perform at a coffee shop a cappella, but there's nothing like being elevated on a stage with a huge system behind you. I love going to shows that are at concert halls that are opening for national acts, because they're there for the show. You're not background music at the bar. You're not just in some hole in the wall place that people are there to drink and socialize. You know, at a concert hall, for those shows, they're promoted well. They got a sound man. They're professional, and everybody in that building wants to see a good show. And when you know those circumstances, when you go out there, you're just like, it's a whole nother feeling and energy. Like I opened up for Dax last year, and he's a pretty big artist.
Yeah.
And I got to be on 2 of his shows on his tour. And one was in West Virginia, Huntington, and one was in Newport. And when I walked out on the stage, I mean, people were like ready. Like they don't know me from him. Like they just assume I'm up and coming because I'm there.
Yeah.
So they don't know me for, oh, that's Chris from the east side of Frankfurt. They're like, oh, who's Hybrid the Rapper opening with Dax? So they're ready, and they're willing to show love. They're willing to express, to rock out, to scream back at me, to, you know, they want autographs. They treat you as if, you know. That's why I love those shows the most. So the Wu-Tang was like that. And I've opened up for Bone. I've opened up for Juvenile, Lupe Fiasco, Dax.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of really good artists, you know, a lot of bigger names in the independent world too that aren't quite household names, but they're still kind of there. I even opened up for Jelly Roll years ago before he was the Jelly Roll we know now.
Wow,
you know,
really?
he was the headliner, but he wasn't Rupp Arena level headliner. You know, he was just it was a small little bar in Newport. And so I've had a lot of blessed opportunities, but yeah, those are my favorite, is the bigger shows, just because it's like a moment you realize your dream sort of came true. You know, it's like you did all this groundwork.
Like, how did I get here? Yeah. Like,
Yeah,
how did I get here?
Yeah, like damn this. So it started like way back when I was 15, and then suddenly, it's a good feeling because it's like something really happened. You know, it's more than just in your imagination. It's not the groundwork. None of all the disappointments fade away, all the fallouts fade away, and it's like, okay, I got a moment, and I'm really, it's really happening. This is like a moment.
So I'm not going to keep you in the hot seat much longer, Hybrid, but I want to know, and I'm sure the audience is curious, what's next for Hybrid? Any new projects, collaborations, or albums, or new singles dropping anytime soon?
Man, all the time. You know, I'm a hard worker. I literally just dropped several projects last year, and this year so far I just dropped a spoken word album. I wanted to do something different, and I dropped like a slam poetry spoken word, little music to it, but it's not to beats. It's just all spoken word, coffee shop type poetry. It was a bucket list. It was another one of my favorite art forms, you know. So I just dropped that. I've been promoting that. I've got a couple small albums coming out in May. I'm going to drop 2 projects on one day.
Okay.
They're kind of like an ode and a dedication to my town. One is an unreleased album of The Basement Upstairs, my old rap group.
Yes, sir.
And then another album to go with that. And then in September, I'm dropping another album with a guy from Michigan named Soulistic. It's a duet album. Been working on it a few years. He's from Detroit, actually. And a project he produced, engineered everything. I'm just kind of playing my part and rapping. So it's a collaboration album. And, you know, I got an indie label, Dub Tape Records, and not duct tape, but dub tape, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And I got a couple friends who I'm going to help push some EPs. I'm just going to keep releasing music. I actually dropped a song today called Bottom of the Barrel. So I'm always dropping new content, always new songs. I just dropped a couple solo albums last year. I did a West Coast album, influenced album late last year. It's kind of a dedication bucket list type of album to just being raised off Bay Area West Coast music. So I just got a bunch of Dr. Dre sounding beats and did like an old school 90s West Coast album.
I love that.
Yeah, I just love experiment. I love the challenge. I have a huge surplus of music on deck that I could probably stop recording now and drop an album every year for the rest of my life. I have about 15 albums on deck.
Yeah, that's got to be like a lot less pressure knowing that you have so many things in the chamber.
Yeah. But, you know, if you don't put a little something behind them, you don't make content, and you don't release them right, they will just sort of disappear in obscurity. So even though having a lot, you still got to space it out, and give your supporters a little time to enjoy what you do have out there. I tend to throw a little much out there, so I'm trying to pace myself, find a good flow with, you know, maintaining a healthy regimen of new music but then also just kind of letting it breathe a little bit, working behind the scenes. I'm always working with new artists and new engineers and new producers and stuff. So I got a lot on deck.
Well, my final question for you, there's a lot of little hybrids out there that are wanting to get to where you're even at right now. So what advice would you give to these up-and-coming, inspiring rap artists?
Become absolutely obsessed with it.
I love that.
You have to. You have to. Like, you have to become obsessed with all of the aspects of it and fall in love with it, become passionate, become inspired. You got to like practice it. You got to rehearse. It's like training. You know, you got to like develop it, sharpen your sword. You have to like try new things. You need to work on your singing voice, work on your engineering, work on your production, work on your writing. Like, you have to develop all these skill sets because it is a tricky, complicated, fierce dog eat dog sort of industry. Like, it's as competitive as sports. So you almost have to think of it like, if basketball is my reference, like, okay, yeah, you can play intramurals, and if you're good enough, you can play high school, and then you can maybe make it to the next level. But then once you're in the next level, well, how many colleges are out there, and how many good ball players are out there? Then what's going to separate you from that to where you got the scouts looking at you? And then even when you're there, so you do make it to the pro league, it's like, then what? What's going to make you have longevity?
Yeah, what's going to make you stay on the top of the mountain?
Yeah, because there's always somebody ready to
take your spot.
Yeah, there's only so many on the bench, you know, and only so much cap space. So.
Yes. So the advice that you would give is to get obsessed with it. I love it, man. Well, you know, unfortunately, we're on time constraints here, being a radio show. Man, I could have talked to you
I'm having a blast
for another 45 minutes to an hour.
We didn't even get to really have a hip hop conversation.
I know. And when you mentioned that you loved West Coast music, I do too. I was hoping maybe you liked East Coast so we could battle it out of why West Coast is better, but we'll agree. We'll agree on that.
Yeah.
But definitely, I would love for you to come back on, man. Anytime you have a new song to drop or a new album to promote, there's so much more in the chamber. I'd love to sit down and just talk in depth with you more. But again, I had a blast today. Thank you so much for doing it, dude.
Yeah, I appreciate the opportunity, man.